Whatnuts, hello. Hope everybody had a lovely weekend. It is U.S. January 8th. What chaos, DJ Bean, Pete Blackburn, Sean, Pauser, DePause. Hi, Sean. We'll start with Sean.
Hey.
We're going to kick off this week with Sean's.
I like that you said U.S. January 8th because it is not January 8th everywhere. So it is important to clarify.
It's true.
Whoa.
How was your U.S. January 6th? You do anything to celebrate?
January 6th, I watched Cincinnati Cyclones hockey.
That's right, baby.
No, I didn't actually.
Paint the town red.
Did I do anything? I just watched football Saturday.
Fair enough.
Most American way to celebrate a holiday like that.
I did 2 movies this weekend and tons of football and tons of hockey. Gotta say, so much shit has happened the last few days. All-Stars, Bedard, RIP, devastated, Oilers, Dogs, William Nylander, Pete proven right, people in Toronto maybe not having the best sense of humor or understanding things, but it's going to be a big show. Pete, what'd you do this weekend?
Stayed inside. I love the first snow of the season, so I had a great time just looking at the beautiful snowfall, watching some movies. I finally watched Bottoms. Hilarious.
Welcome to the show, Pete Blackburn.
What a ridiculous movie, but very fun time. Marshawn Lynch is a treasure. So I did nothing, hung around, stayed inside, loved it.
You think that when Sean and I are like whispering and going like this, that we're talking shit about you? We are just always talking about Bottoms and what an incredible movie it is.
True.
You mentioned Marshawn Lynch, that like Marshawn Lynch is going to be everything that people thought Rob Gronkowski was going to be.
Yeah,
if he wants to be. If he wants to be, he's the next Stallone. He's the next whatever. He rules.
I love that Sean didn't even mention the fact that he went to the New England Patriots game.
I was specifically asked about the sixths, which is why I didn't bring it up. But yeah, I did go to Patriots Jets yesterday.
Hilarious.
One of the worst experiences.
You could not pay me like an ungodly amount of money to go to that game. Zero chance.
Yeah.
Patriots, Jets in like a blizzard.
And you're a Patriots
meaningless
fan.
game.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not. I will say it was nice to be at Bill Belichick's funeral.
He's going to be the coach next year.
He's of a football team. I agree. He's ruined my life, most of my life as a football fan. So it was nice to see that come to an end. Nice to see the Patriots just be bad. But yeah, no, my experience yesterday started on the event train from South Station to Foxborough. Sat on it for 40 minutes before it left. Was sweating through all of my many layers I was wearing. And then I got there and yeah, I was incredibly cold and wet and it was awful.
Did you go in a large group? Did you?
I went with my friend and his girlfriend.
Okay. Man, I was going to say, like, if it's a large group, there could be like a last minute, you know what? Tummy ache. See you later.
No, yeah, it was.
You could not pay me money to go to that game, so props to you.
It was awesome. I do like it was miserable, but it was awesome. Like I love snow football, and it was my first time ever at Gillette.
What'd you think of the scoreboard?
Oh, it was fucking awesome. That stadium is dope.
It's a good scoreboard.
It's a good stadium, and also I like the only NFL stadium I've ever been to, or I guess I've been to 2. I've been to the one in Arizona, and obviously Buffalo. And Buffalo's is very old and shitty. So it's nice to be in. That's just kind of the theme for Buffalo. A lot of it's old and shitty.
Did you want...
Except for the hockey team, it's young and shitty.
Young and back. Young and G-word.
Typically in hockey, if you don't like either teams, you say that you're rooting for the scoreboard to fall down. That wouldn't really make sense if in there, because if that happened at Gillette. I've always thought it was like the darkest thing in the world.
You just want all the players to die.
Right.
The scoreboard could have fallen down in Gillette.
Also, didn't the scoreboard actually fall? Didn't the Jumbotron actually fall in Buffalo?
It did at one point, yes.
Yeah.
Thankfully, no one
in practice.
not during
nobody
a game.
got hurt.
If it was during a game, I feel like that would still be talked about.
No, you could say, oh, the scoreboard fell down. It's okay because the scoreboard's over center ice and the puck was never there. It's always
in their defensive zone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But were you rooting for the Patriots to win?
There was part of me because I wanted them to have a worse draft pick.
Yeah.
But it sucked because it was like I didn't even get Mac Jones versus Zach Wilson. Like it was Zappy versus Simeon, and it was just like, and it was also like the problem with these two teams is they're bad, but the reason they're bad is because they're offense. So it wasn't even like we had like a crazy
defensive battle in the snow.
That's why they're like
lovely.
I could have gone to Chargers, whom I also love, against the Patriots in like, what was it, like kind of rainy or just like cold that day? I forget, with good seats for free. And I was like, absolutely not. That's going to be like 4 points are going to be scored in that game. And that's what ended up happening. God, yeah. Respect to you though, Sean. I just also found it really funny that like, guess who's at this game?
Yeah.
The answer is Sean. One of my friends asked about you the other day because I talk about the show a lot. And she was like, how's the producer Sean doing? And I was like, he is the best. He's a great producer. He's a great friend. Also, he just fucking loves sports.
Mm-hmm.
And
that I do.
I gave the example. I was like, any other thing or any game that Pete and I didn't watch, Sean watched and he knows everything about. So I love that like the next interaction I had with you was like, I, the Buffalo Bills fan, am going to the Patriots-Jets game that not a human in the world wants to attend. And you were there.
Yeah, I had other Patriots fans being like, I don't know why I'm here. And I'm like, brother, you're a Patriots fan. I don't know why I'm here.
I saw our friend Jess Smetana tweeted, like, if you're watching, or she quote tweeted somebody who tweeted, like, if you're watching the Patriots-Jets game, you're a pervert. And she tweeted
like,
the picture of the referee with the hands down his pants.
Lock me up.
So what kind of pervert are you if you go to that game? If you're not even a fan of either team?
I don't listen.
A massive one.
You're getting on a list.
I'm knocking on doors now.
I don't listen or watch any of the Le Batard show, but every person on there, Jess is the best, but like every person on that show is incredible. And I've never listened to that show before, but I know each of them individually from like online, or I know of them from online of all these clips they post. And that's like my favorite show.
Yeah.
And I've never heard it before.
Me either. You know what I have heard before?
What?
The Edmonton Oilers doing some crazy shit.
Well, it was a huge weekend for the Oilers because on US January 6th, it will forever be remembered as the day that the Oilers, for the first time all season, stood in playoff position. They beat the Senators 3-1, Zach Hyman scoring all 3 goals. Oilers now, I don't know if they still are, but they were in the second playoff position in the Western Conference. There it is. Look how beautiful. Oh my gosh. And they've still got
By
games
the second
in
playoff
hand.
position, you mean the second wild card.
Yeah,
Not a second in the Western Conference.
No, it's
Not
second.
yet.
No, because when they play the team that they end up playing, they're the second team in that matchup, and they'll probably win. I feel terrible for whether it's the Avalanche or, I mean, now the Jets or the Knights or the Canucks or whoever it ends up being. That sucks if Edmonton ends up being a wild card team.
The Jets do not deserve that.
You mean like as a good team? You mean? Yeah. I thought you meant like they don't deserve it.
They don't deserve to be. No, they deserve
I've been saying for weeks at this point, like, respect the Winnipeg Jets. Respect the Winnipeg Jets. America's team, the Winnipeg Jets, first place not only in the Western Conference, first place in the entire NHL. Nobody saw that fucking coming.
That is one of the crazier developments. I mean, if we just threw that up right now, you'd be like, wow, the Oilers are only a wild card. They must be struggling right now. And it's like, oh no, the Oilers are fucking incredible right now. Yeah. They've won 7 games in a row. They've made miracles happen to be here. And the Jets are just...
The Jets are it's crazy. Like, they... Obviously, Wheeler gone. Like, a lot of talk about Scheifele, whether he'd be gone. A lot of talk about Hellebuck, whether he'd be traded. Then they Kyle Connor, they're like one of their best players hurt, arguably their best player hurt, and they're cruising, dude. That team is awesome, and like they're awesome defensively, which is so against what you come to expect from the Winnipeg Jets. So I'm a big Jets fan this year.
Well, Oilers. We were gonna get Gene on today, by the way. He can't make it, but I did do some DMing, some GMing with Gene.
GM.
If I hit Gene with a GM, do you think you would know what it meant?
Probably not.
Sean, you know what GM is?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Or
Yeah.
general manager.
If I just like DM'd Gene, GM, he'd be like, "Hi, buddy."
Then that just end it there.
Yeah.
Hitting Gene with a GM every single morning would be incredible.
I mean, that's what crypto bros do.
GM
Yeah, I
King
know.
every morning. GM King.
GM.
King.
GM King.
I did start our DM correspondence with Gene, you legend, and then went from there. He can't make it because he is traveling to Chicago for a devastating hockey game tomorrow, where the Red Hot Oilers are going to face the actively resting in peace, like, you know, in The Sopranos, where like they dig up the body that they just moved and like it has like facial hair on it and everything. That sadly is what the Blackhawks look like right now, and the Oilers are going to fucking murder that.
But
team.
respect where respect is due. We will talk about Bedard a little bit later, but the Chicago Blackhawks beat the Calgary Flames this weekend with while dressing 11 forwards with a combined cap hit of $13.9 million. 11 forwards, $13.9 million. And during that game, they had more money on the injured reserve than they did in the active lineup.
Incredible.
The Chicago Blackhawks are in a unbelievable state of disarray right now.
Well, the hockey world is a better place when the Oilers are good. They have won 7 in a row, have the second wild card spot. But if you go by points per game, I'm sure that they would be higher than that because they've got games in hand. And that ain't all that was happening. You got Zach Hyman scoring hat tricks. Quickly, would you got the picture
again
of all of these hats? Look at some of those, like some of those Oilers hats are like hard-earned Oilers hats. Like those are like saw some shit Oilers hats.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like those were products of like the bad days of Edmonton Oilers hockey.
Those are some like Sean Horkoff
Yeah.
Oilers hats. Would you ever throw a hat at a game?
Yeah, it depends on the hat, I suppose. Like I think at like most Bruins games, I would throw my hat unless it was my like 75th anniversary 47 brand hat. That was like a lot of money and like one of my favorite hats ever. Like it depends on the hat, but like most Bruins hats I can replace, and so I'll toss it. But like maybe that's a cathartic experience for some of those Oilers fans where they're like, I've been waiting to get rid of this piece of shit hat for years, and I just haven't had the opportunity.
Thank you, Zach Hyman. Sean sprained his neck as I was asking that question because he was shaking it so hard.
I mean, if you are going to a National Hockey League game and you're sitting lower level, you better be prepared to lose your hat. I don't care what hat.
Oh, so you're saying
so you're saying you gotta throw it.
But like I was shaking my head to Pete suggesting there's a situation in which he doesn't throw your don't wear the hat. Either you wear a hat you can throw or you don't wear a hat. If you are wearing a hat and your team scores a hat trick and you don't throw it, you're not a real fan.
In fairness, most of the times I don't sit close enough to throw my hat.
Well, that's fair. If you're sitting up in the 300s, do whatever you want.
Yeah,
or second level or something like that. Yeah, that's fine.
I saw a Brad Marchand hat trick against the Columbus Blue Jackets earlier this year, but I was up in the 300 level. So
yeah,
I'm
nothing
not
you can do
throwing
about
hat.
that. That's different. But I'm just saying, if you're going to be sitting in a position where you can throw your hat, you better be prepared to lose that hat.
Fair.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Although, like, it does
Unless it has
suck.
sentimental value.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
what if it was like
Maybe you don't
your
bring that
dead
hat.
dad's hat or something that he passed down to you?
Well, first off, you shouldn't wear that hat if you are the kind of person that wears it. If you have that close of a relationship with your dad and like that big into hockey or whatever, where you're like, dad's passed, but I'm still wearing his hat to every game. I hope your dad loves hockey so much that he was like, you better throw that fucking hat.
I don't know. I think it's your hat, your choice kind of thing.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want with your hat. It doesn't mean as I like to say, you are entitled to your incorrect opinion.
Okay,
You
that's
can do
fair.
whatever you can do whatever you want. That doesn't mean you're not going to be wrong.
I mean, this is a rare case where like I don't have a strong opinion
Yeah.
on it. Like I hear kind of both cases. I bet it would feel great. I've never done it. I bet it would feel great to just let that thing sing. Although, what if like as someone who's never thrown their hat, I don't have any practice doing it.
I know.
So I could make a real fucking fool of myself.
But at that point, it's like graduation. Everyone's throwing their hats. No one's gonna know where your hat came from. You just got to grab it by the brim, frisbee that shit, and if it makes it, it makes it. If it doesn't, someone else will pick it up and throw it over.
It's like the people closer to the glass will pick up the hats that didn't make it, and they'll toss them over.
It's like a
I
teddy
don't
bear
think
toss
anybody's
too.
turning around and being like, "Pussy, didn't make it."
And
Every time I've gone to a
That's
hockey
true.
game, somebody has turned around and said pussy at me.
for no reason, just be like, I don't like the cut
They
of this
just like
guy's
sniff
jib,
it out.
pussy.
This guy who
The ticket scanner scans your ticket. Hey, have fun, pussy.
yeah, I smell 2 orders of
Enjoy
chicken
your chicken
fingers.
tenders,
Let's be
pussy.
mean to this guy. Yeah, like I mean, Sean, we were behind the Sabres bench. What if like somebody scored a hat trick and I just like hit Tage in the head because I couldn't?
Tage has got to know the hats are coming. Like
Tage
that's
has
on
gotta
everybody.
be prepared for it. I think it's an interesting little talking point. But it wasn't just clinching a playoff spot as the Oilers did on US January
Clinching
6th.
a playoff
First
spot.
team this season. Yeah, they clinched a playoff spot to clinch a playoff spot. The night that All-Stars were announced, which was US January 4th, every team, as soon as the first 32 players were announced, every team on their socials got on it. Like whichever players weren't announced, hey, NHL All-Star Game hashtag, send this guy. Like get Cale Makar there, get this guy there, get that guy there. I go over to see how aggressively the Oilers must have been pushing Zach Hyman or probably Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah.
There isn't an all-star tweet to be seen because they, for some godforsaken reason, at Rogers Place are hosting a skills competition in the middle of the season where they're having their players do, like they have like McDavid and all their look, they got Draisaitl doing a little dipsy-do dunkaroo. Cool.
That was the lamest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
But I love they still have like all like the lights flying and everywhere. So weird. So I'm looking for like a hashtag NHL All-Star Game vote Zach Hyman, which I, as an Oilers fan, was doing. And they're like, Cody Ceci really clapped this one and showing this Cody Ceci bomb. We want to have.
What is this?
I was looking for answers. Like Gene maybe could have helped us out.
I mean, I'm surprised. Like all the players look like they're having the best time.
It seems like the most minor league baseball shit of all time.
Yeah, fair. Like I was wondering, like I assume that players would be pissed to have to take part in this on like a Saturday night. It's like you don't have a game, you got to go in and do this fucking bullshit and lose your Saturday night. But it seems like Thursday. Oh, it's a Thursday night. Okay, well that's a little bit better then. Like, but like
no, like you always have to play. You're an NHL team. You always have to play games on Thursday. You finally don't.
But like it seems like it's kind of like a field day type thing where they're just there having fun and it's about like their families and stuff. They get to bring their dogs. They brought their dogs and had a dog race.
So this is the highlight of it. They had a rough relay in which players' dogs ran from the goal line to the blue line. Participants included Bowie Draisaitl, Leonard McDavid, Ollie Don't Call Me Pop Bouchard, Willow Nugent Hopkins, and Hugo Ceci.
Some awesome dog names.
Some great dog names, and also Willow Nugent Hopkins.
Think he's a big Swiftie?
Yeah, I think that's like just like a really white name.
Has Taylor ruins that name for you for the rest of time?
Possibly. I like Hugo as a dog.
Yeah, same. Hugo was hauling ass as a little mini French bulldog.
Leonard McDavid wanted nothing to do with it.
Leonard McDavid wanted absolutely no part of it. You think that's like the first time McDavid's ever tried to interact with his dog?
Maybe.
That's the take. That's like our Nylander clip for this show. It's that is Connor McDavid a bad dog owner?
Also,
Hugo was always going to win.
French bulldogs are just huge in the NHL. There's like they're literally. I'm sorry, the Coyotes. There's like 5 people on that roster that have French bulldogs.
I will
There's a
say
bunch of
those
people.
are. How do I put this respectfully?
Yeah, it's
those are like vanity dogs.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I was going to say just like every white couple owns
right. And it's
French
like
bulldog.
Very basic, very vanity. So it's not surprising.
And they're also probably not going to live that long because they always have health problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because like they're designed inappropriately and incorrectly.
Yeah.
Right. They're like broken dogs that are so cool. My favorite dog in the world.
Very appropriate for the Oilers.
Yeah.
A broken dog. That's cool.
My favorite dog in the world and my best friend, Emilio, is a French bulldog. And I have never once not been so happy to hang out with that dog, have him jump all over me, sit on my lap. I love French bulldogs. If I ever get a dog, which it blows my mind, I've always been a dog guy. I've never owned a dog in adulthood. If I ever do, it would be a French bulldog. I would name him Buckingham.
Nice. That rocks.
After Lindsey Buckingham, but we could call him Buck.
Buck. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
I love my takeaways from the name, like Bowie. If Draisaitl's a big Bowie fan, hell yeah. It's just
I
the
love
coolest
that.
guy in the world, got even cooler. Also, Leonard McDavid. Did Connor McDavid name his dog after Leon Draisaitl?
Famously, Leon is short for Leonard.
It probably isn't,
Maybe,
but it's
could
the
be,
first
yeah,
four
yeah.
letters of the name. So it could be. I would love calling him Leonard Draisaitl.
Yeah, I was gonna say like we should get Draisaitl and be like, so
But if I
Leonard.
was looking at this, he spelled Leonard like Lenard.
I don't know if that was was that a mistake from the
I don't know. That's
could
just
be
what that's
Canadian
what-
spelling.
how it was spelled on the thing.
Canadian Leon?
Yeah,
Yeah, but like, shout out to the Oilers just fucking around.
as like they're doing incredible things. I mean, it would be a lot worse if they were still like
oh my
horrible.
god, Sean brought up this point. It's
Yeah.
like, what if the Oilers were still doing fucking terrible?
Like if you
and-
tried to pull this shit in November, they would have been like, go. Like, could you imagine with how
Practice.
pissed off Connor McDavid was at the beginning of the season? If they were like, all right, go out there and shoot on your own goalie for a skills comp on an off day, he would have been like, trade me
Now,
immediately.
But like, what do you want the Oilers to do? Like, they're all-star. They don't need to do an all-star campaign because their all-stars are like predetermined. It's obviously Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and then if they get a third one, Stuart Skinner.
dude, I'm glad you brought up Stuart Skinner. Shout out our guy Jay Fresh Hockey.
Yeah.
He makes all those like infographics.
Yep.
Fuck that guy. 'Cause I love him, and he's an invaluable resource. I feel like every one of his graphics now somehow ends up being a shot at Stu Skinner, and
Oh, so it doesn't get saved?
yes, he doesn't save it. It's not his fault that like the information is what the information is, but it always ends up being like a goals saved above average by team, and it's like always like the Oilers are last, and it's all these like team defense and allowing goals stats, and the Oilers are always. I'm like, just fucking say it. You don't like Stu Skinner.
I mean, not the most insane stat graphic to come out of this weekend. I don't think we have it, but like I sent it in the group chat last night. Sportsnet put up the graphic that like the Toronto Maple Leafs would be first in save percentage if they removed Ilya Samsonov's save percentage, and it's like,
Yeah, cool, bro. The guy that has played. Yeah, if you take away the goalie who has played most of the time for us, we'd be awesome at
who's
goalie.
been like the worst goalie
Yeah.
in the
The
league.
exact stat was Martin Jones and Joseph Wall have a .921 save percentage, which is 3 points higher than Winnipeg and 4 points higher than Boston. But yeah, like you said,
But like, you
Well,
don't get to
Winnipeg
just
and Boston are
remove.
fucking
They played
playing
them.
those
You don't get
guys.
to just remove the guy that you relied on for most of the season so far and be like, oh well, we would be the best.
I would love to see, like, I would just love to see that stat if every team took away their best goalie,
or their worst goalie,
or their worst goalie,
Yeah.
yeah. Like where
I mean,
Toronto
that's
would
like saying
line up
like the Bruins would be the best team in the league if you just removed all their losses.
Right. Well, teams do that all the time with like the stats they hand out to media. They'll say like David Pasternak has like 10 goals in his last 3 multi-goal games. And you're like, probably. Just how many does he have in his last 3 games though? Like
The selective stat crowd is so fucking weird. Just
Yeah.
such weird behavior.
the meltdowns that I have had over the years, but no worse than the meltdown that Toronto fans maybe don't get us, or maybe I think more just like don't get hockey, because we pointed out last week that William Nylander was doing some very unpatriotic stuff, shooting his mouth off with his friends, screwing around, doing the old Calvin peeing on the U.S. flag during the national anthem. And sure, we are a Leafs podcast, but we let our guys have it just like we let anybody have it. Call us the can man, because it doesn't matter who you are, you can get it. And we pointed out that William Nylander can't be screwing around. You reported that his market as a free agent was shrinking because you had to remove 26 teams because they didn't want to have some guy burning the flag during games, pissing on the flag on the bench.
I absolutely love the idea, by the way, of like you got 9 guys standing on the blue lines just doing their little sway as the anthem plays, and Willie's just skating around the rink with a flag on fire, just being like, down with the U.S.
Looked like it was going that way.
It did.
It's a slippery slope.
Now he's never going to be able to beat the allegations.
So shortly after, it's reported, Willie ain't gonna make it to free agency. He'll take that contract in Canada.
Him and old Pops never mind. We don't want to get every dime that we can. We're just gonna stay right where we are, where it's safe, and not head below the border where everybody now hates us.
Toronto fans, like you mentioned, not that pleased with us. Did we save the Toronto Maple Leafs? Because now they don't have to pay Willie as much money because his market shrunk, and now they have more money. Now he can't
quite a bit of money.
Well, slash he can't leave. He has to stay in Toronto.
He literally can't leave. They give him a no movement clause.
So
which again, useless no movement
Toronto?
clause. No one's going to trade for him. 26 teams. 26 teams in the NHL right now have a William Nylander no movement clause.
Exactly.
He ain't moving to us.
We got no room.
They don't want that guy. Oh, sorry. We like America.
Yeah,
we'll do whatever it takes to ice a good American roster.
I mean, the Toronto fans were like, these guys have no idea what they're talking about. This is the dumbest take I've ever heard in my life. And then, like, within 48 hours, signed, sealed, delivered, a new William Nylander contract. 8 years, $11.5 million. Wait, 11.5 million dollars. 0.25 more than Pasternak. So
score one for the Hockey Insiders.
Score one for Michael Nylander. I believe the reports that we heard last week, we talked about it, was that he was being offered the exact contract that Pasternak was offered, and Willie wanted to accept it. Old Pop said, no, you got to get more. He got more.
Well, I just think it is a shame, though, that this stunt has paid off for William Nylander. I don't like seeing bad behavior get rewarded. And we have seen over the years, whether it's the Patriots drafting Aaron Hernandez or like where you take risks on character questions.
Yeah, and 8 years is a long time. So like this could be the gateway to even worse behavior from Willie Nylander. Like he could get into like just full on terrorism by the time this contract is done.
He was talking during the anthem too.
Yeah,
that's the worst of it all. He was talking during the anthem,
talking, laughing. We couldn't see below the waist because of the bench
that he was doing.
That was there. He could have been
pissing on the.
He could have been pissing. He could have been helicoptering. He could have been doing anything.
Jersey Devils fanning.
He could have been wanking, just saying "fuck these guys, hate this country." Yeah, I don't know. William Nylander, Toronto. Have fun with him for the next 8 years.
Just despicable behavior. All right, now that we're done with stuff that we're going to clip into things that are going to infuriate Toronto fans, I fucking hate that contract. That contract sucks.
I'm worried about it. Like I think that Willie Nylander has developed into an amazing player. He's one of the best wingers in the league now. But I mean, there are not many guys in the league that you would put a 8-year, $11.5 million contract in front of me and be like, I've got no worries about this one. Willie Nylander has never been a 100-point player.
Right.
Trending that way this year. But like, it's also a contract year.
Exactly.
So like he secured his bag. How does that affect his play? I don't know. He's been a point per game player one time
last year.
Had 80 points in 81 games.
Right.
81 games the year before. He's playing obviously with a ton of talent in Toronto. He's among that talent, obviously, but 8 years, $11.5 million does concern me for that guy.
Who do you think's better, David Pastrnak or William Nylander?
David Pastrnak.
I think it is not even fucking close.
Yeah.
David Pastrnak is so much better than his Sodertine teammate, William Nylander. And I don't like going above 10 for a wing unless they're crazy elite. And William Nylander, to me, is an awesome player who, for maybe a calendar year, has been elite.
Yeah. And I think that he's been pretty close to elite for like a couple years now,
yeah,
2-3 years.
So like he's an elite-ish player.
And yeah, but I think that he was elite-ish and now he is like clearly elite. The question is, does that sustain beyond the contract year? Was there a lot of incentive to kind of get his money this year? But this is going to carry through his age 30, 35, 36 season.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like you mentioned, he's a winger, and that's a lot of money for a winger and a lot of money for a winger who isn't even the best player on his own team.
Right. So let's say for like 6 years, he was really good and approaching elite-ish. Last 2 years, he was like elite-ish. This year, he's elite.
Yeah, agree.
So like that's great if he's getting better, and if the next 3-4 years he is what he is this year, then it's kind of hard to argue with it. But I don't know, Jeem. I don't know if that ends up happening.
Also, worth mentioning, $46.65 million for the core four through next season. And then after next season, Marner and Tavares come off.
Also worth mentioning, per Pierre LeBrun, $69 million of that is bonus money, signing bonus money.
Hell yeah.
So nice.
I don't know who's his agent. I could see him being like a JP Barry guy.
His agent's Michael Nylander.
It might be.
Also, like, this deal also proves that the Leafs are so fucking bad at getting their guys to come off like the price that they're demanding. Both Nylander, Marner, and I guess Matthews to an extent too, like, have just kind of bent them over the barrel and gotten every dollar that they possibly could have from the Toronto Maple Leafs. And like at some point, like a big reason why the Bruins were able to have sustained success is that their players were like, let's have a team-friendly deal and mix in there. And the Leafs are getting none of that. And like, as somebody who's big on players getting their money and not necessarily taking a team-friendly deal, like, I don't think that anybody has to volunteer to do that. But the Maple Leafs have just like, they've had to pay out the ass for all of these guys.
And like with the Matthews situation, with like not getting him super long term, like they're just gonna keep getting fucked with all these guys.
His agent is Louis Gross, also the agent of Jeremy Swayman too.
Okay.
And Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah, he's a Krug guy, right?
I'm looking. I don't see it anywhere. Oh yeah, yep. Krug. He's got Gaudreau, obviously Nylander, Krug, Brandon Saad, Ross Colton, Iafallo, Jeremy Swayman.
Shout out Louis Gross. Shout out Jeremy Swayman. Yeah, I don't like that contract. I don't think I'm going to like it as time goes on. I'll tell you what I do like though, and that's Olipop. We got some refrigerated ones over there, and relatively, that's an awfully hot Olipop. They're so good. No matter what I'm doing in life, I could be exercising regularly. I could be beholden to the Chex Mix. Shout out Deej. Haven't had any Chex Mix in 2024.
This guy loves Chex Mix.
That's I don't even know, and I talk about it with my therapist, I don't even know if I even love Chex Mix anymore. Or I just know that's the way I can be horrible to myself without like drinking or doing drugs.
That's probably like, you probably do love Chex Mix, but like you probably tie Chex Mix into like in your brain, you associate it with like being a fucking bad boy. And so you've probably like kind of wired your brain into being like Chex Mix bad.
So bad boy, good boy, no matter what, I'm telling you what, at this point, and I love all the flavors, you know me, I'm a classic cola boy. I have just had tunnel vision when it comes to the grape. They've been calling me Sean DePaz the way that I drink those grape Ollipops. It is so good, whether with a sandwich, whether with whatever. Toss them in my cereal in the morning. It is delicious. And I'm getting fewer than 5 grams of sugar with each one. It's to the point now, and like I was at the pictures the other day, so I got a soda, and I'm like,
got a pop at the pictures?
Yeah. And I was like, I like Olipop more than this Coke Zero Cherry that I'm sucking down right now. Something about it is just more real. Lalo Salamanca voice, flavorful, delicious. And there's so many different varieties and so many different ways that you can get it. You could use the code CHAOS for 20% off your next Olipop order on drinkolipop.com, or just dip in to 22,000 stores across the country, including Walmart, Target, and Whole Foods. Olipop, you're going to love it. I guarantee, I guarantee it. We've done all this without only mentioning once in passing that Connor Bedard
dead
went and broke his jaw. And I texted you in the group text. This is why I refuse to talk about hits on this show. He fucking skated it. He kept his head down a little bit, got fucking lit up by Brenden Smith and broke his jaw. It sucks. I'm mad at Brenden Smith. I'm mad at God. I'm mad at everybody, but it fucking is what it is. Smith didn't do anything wrong. And now our life sucks because we don't get to hang out with Connor Bedard at the All-Star game. Possibly. I got to take there.
My life sucks a little bit more. I'm going to Chicago next week to watch, not just to watch Blackhawks Sharks, but I'm going to be going to Blackhawks Sharks. Blackhawks Sharks without Connor Bedard in the lineup is maybe is that the most depressing NHL matchup that you could think of?
Was it Sean called it the Celebrini Bowl?
I called it the Celebrini Bowl.
I don't know, but I don't know that I've said that, but I was literally just thinking that it is the Celebrini Bowl.
Yeah,
maybe you said it, but it's got some Sean energy behind it. So please give credit where it's due.
Okay, thanks, Sean.
I thought of it first, even if you said it first.
But yeah, I mean, the Bedard thing obviously sucks. And I mean, I agree with every part of what you just said. Like, seeing people twist their brain into being like, Brenden Smith, how could you fucking do this? It's like, what is he supposed to do? Connor Bedard is skating right down the highway, kind of has his head down. Like, Brenden Smith's job there is to either light him up or just I don't know, do something, not let him just skate right down the middle. And I didn't have a problem with the hit. I didn't have a problem with any part of that. Like, respect to Brenden Smith for even fighting Nick Foligno, who also got injured after the fact. So Foligno hurt for defending Connor Bedard. But Brenden Smith stood up, was sure, I know that I'm probably, you don't want me hitting this guy in open ice, but good hit, unfortunate result. And now I think the question becomes does the Calder race open up now? We don't know how long Bedard is going to be out. We don't know what the timetable is right now, but he was the runaway Calder guy. There wasn't even really a discussion there. But now I'm wondering, does there become a Calder conversation at some point?
I mean, I think he obviously returns at some point this season. Broken jaw can be, I think it takes maybe 4 or 5 months to fully heal.
Yeah, but you can throw on a fishbowl.
You can do stuff with it after a couple of weeks even. Famously, Zdeno Chara was 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll be good to go. And he was back the next game an absolute maniac. I don't think at this point in his career...
His jaw was fractured on both sides.
Yeah, I don't think at this point in his career Connor Bedard needs to be in any sort of rush to do that. I do think it wouldn't be crazy if they were you're not fucking dealing with contact at the All-Star game. I would still love to see him out there at the All-Star game with a mask, with a fishbowl, whatever it may be. Get him out there. I would love that. But he's going to be back at some point this season. I think the race is still over unless this changes the way Bedard plays, which we say all the time. We love that he fucking owns the middle of the ice. He's I think I said on this show, McDavid with a better shot at points, the way that he's just doesn't care. He'll go the length of the ice. He'll take the middle of the ice. maybe he's a little shell-shocked. I don't think he should be. I think he should just keep his head up a little more. And honestly, I don't remember too many times this season, if any, where I've been like, oh, he ought to be careful there. I think that he knows how to play. So as long as he's not overcorrecting something that doesn't need to be corrected, he's going to be back and he'll still run away with the Calder.
I wonder if the Blackhawks try to like encourage him to go to the All-Star game, whether or not like, I wonder if he wants to go, like if his jaw is fractured or if he wants to go, period, because a lot of guys don't seem to want to. All Yorkshire.
Oh, geez. This call, would Connor Bedard want to go to a hockey thing? Your call.
Fair enough. I wonder if the Blackhawks encourage him to go just because of how embarrassing it would be for them to have to send another representative.
Yeah, man. We were looking through the other options. I texted you last night and I was like, it has to be Seth Jones, which I would love. I would love to give him the old Sean Evans and Paul Rudd look, like stroll into Toronto. Hey, look at us. Who would have thought? And Seth Jones be like, God fucking damn it. Like,
Seth Jones himself hasn't played since the 10th, though.
Right, he's out.
He's
He should be
also
back.
Okay.
I think he should be back.
But it's just like all of our guys, like Bedard,
Yeah, like
Foligno,
somebody mentioned that there
and
might
Seth
be a
Jones.
What Chaos curse because
Skinner got hurt immediately after he was on the
Werenski.
show.
Werenski
yeah.
got hurt. Like, yeah, it's
Duke kind of just stopped being good after he was
not
on the
beating
show.
the allegations. But Frank Verdrano
well,
is an
Duke
all-star.
stopped trying after he was on the show, which
Also
was an
true.
alarming
And I mean,
thing.
Swayman and Allmark are still good.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I just
The power of Fika.
It's either gonna be Seth Jones or it's gonna be Jason Dickinson.
Yeah, and Jason Dickinson, love you, mean it. You can't be a fucking all-star, man.
Just send Mrazek.
He doesn't
Like,
have
just
20
do it.
points,
Peter
right?
Mrazek has been pretty
Dickinson has 19 points this season.
good. That's probably second on the Chicago Blackhawks.
I think he has 19 points despite having like a shooting percentage of like 25%. Like every time he shoots the puck, it goes in, and he still has 19 points.
He has 20 points in 40 games.
All right, God bless you.
13 goals.
Go off, King. Right? Like I love it. Those pucks are going in the net. Can't be an all-star.
Second on the team in goals.
Who's first?
Connor Bedard.
Seth Jones.
Yes.
That's what I
Has Seth
thought.
Jones scored yet?
No.
Oh,
He's
no.
0 goals, 11 assists. That'd be hilarious if his first goal came in an All-Star game.
That would
Probably would. I mean, if you
gotta
don't
boost his
score
confidence.
at the All-Star game, you are a fucking asshole.
He's gonna be shooting on Stuart Skinner.
Could we end up in a situation where Seth Jones has more goals in the All-Star game than he does in a full? I mean, obviously he's been hurt for a little bit, but generally speaking,
If
full
Seth-
NHL season.
If Seth Jones is an all-star, we have to get him and tell him, hey, buddy, what did we tell you? When you score, you got to hit the hef.
Yep.
If he scores in the all-star game and does the Doug Heffernan, that would be incredible. And then there would be a lot of buzz. They'd be like, why'd he do that? And he'd be like, oh, well, my friends at the What Chaos show. And they'd be like, what Chaos? And they'd look it up. Be like, what else have they done? William Nylander, what? Hey!
Do we want to start like a campaign for any player, like the What Chaos All-Star campaign? Is it Zach Hyman? Is it?
It's Zach Hyman. Like it has to be.
But
that.
that's
Zach
like
Hyman
that's
has
like
a
a
billion.
real campaign.
Yeah, but he has a fucking billion goals, and his lazy ass team's social media team is
Yeah.
too busy showing Cody Cece slappers to push for him.
Yeah, like if they're not going to do it, somebody's got to pick up the slack. So Zach Hyman to the All-Star game. That's our official push.
Anybody else? I mean, I was looking at guys who
Kirill Marchenko, like you got to send Kirill Marchenko.
Marchenko would be
The fact
amazing.
that they're no disrespect to Boone Jenner, but like him being the pick
That's not
over
fun.
Marchenko to begin with is kind of crazy. To
That's
me.
not fun. Kale McCarr is 9th in the league in points per game. William Nylander is 4th in the league in points per game. Really, Colorado guys. McCarr and Rantanen are both like having great seasons.
Mhm.
They were always going to have great seasons.
Right.
So they're both top 15 in points per game. JT Miller 8th. Elias Pettersson 15th. So
I'm pushing for Rantanen because somebody's dad said that he sucks.
that's right.
An All-Star selection would be a nice little fuck you to that guy.
Well, one of these. We should get him and be like, your comments, your reaction that to certain players' fathers saying I don't know if you saw this.
I don't know. That would be so funny. Hey, I just want to bring this to your attention real quick.
Hate to be the bearer of bad news. Don't shoot the messenger. But apparently you were dicking around, screwing around with William Nylander, laughing at the anthem during the offseason, not working very hard, taking trips, jumping all around. I will say, though, like, I don't love talking about all-star stuff and all-star snubs, and the all-star game itself for me is useless. We're going to be going to the all-star game. I'm mandating that like we treat the actual day of the all-star game as like kind of a day of rest. Like we go, we watch.
It's a day of rest for the players too.
Right. Like we have fun, but like let's not we're as we figure out our energy for that week, like, hey, let's bust our asses leading up to it. And if there's any point at which we need a breather, it can be the all-star game, because that doesn't really fucking matter a lot. If you're listening to this, by the way, smash the YouTube subscription button, because we need
and the like button
and the like if you're watching it on YouTube, because we're gonna have a ton of stuff from the All-Star game on there, plus some extra special stuff after that you're not gonna want to miss. So make sure you're subscribed there. It's also where we've got like all our stuff with Bedard and a lot of cool stuff.
Also, some of the stuff that we're going to be putting out on YouTube is not going to be making the show. So it's going to be like YouTube exclusive. So hit the subscribe button there. So make sure that you do not miss it.
Yeah.
Just because we're going to be pulling a ton of video content. And I think that we're going to be trying some new things in terms of video content.
Oh, yeah.
So some of it will just live exclusively on YouTube. So make sure to subscribe there.
Yeah. But I typically don't care a lot about all-star stuff. This year, for whatever reason, maybe it's because it's the first year that like we're doing a daily hockey show, I do kind of care about who goes and who doesn't go. Not necessarily the like, how could you snub this guy? But like, I think it would be weird this season if, for example, you said Zach Hyman. Like, it would be weird if Zach Hyman wasn't an all-star this year. Maybe like I'm cool with sending him over Leon Draisaitl. Wouldn't shock me if Leon Draisaitl doesn't want to go. And we saw with some of the guys that aren't going, be it Ovi, I forget who else. There were some big Panarin, where it's like those guys didn't really want to go, or they're expecting a child, or whatever it may be.
Well, yeah, Panarin was like, I can't go. It's like, I'm not going. So yeah, I mean, I think that like to an extent we kind of have to care like a little bit, like just based off of like people who watch hockey every single day and are going to be there and are going to be like looking to sit down and get interviews and stuff like that. Like having the guys that we want there, like Zach Hyman, who is a dream guest for you, I'm assuming, it would be nice to get those guys there. So Zach Hyman, come on down, sir.
Who is your favorite all-star that was named? Because I will tell you what, I was sending texts celebrating like crazy. They were calling me Davelin Celebrini, the way I was hitting the roof for Frank Vetrano being an NHL All-Star. Love that. Best known for his appearances,
Just
plural,
his appearance,
probably coming up on the What Chaos program. We were able to send Bedard and Vetrano. Bedard, I think it's going to be the first of many. Could for sure be the first of many for Vetrano, but he's getting a little long in the tooth himself. So him being a first-time All-Star, I thought was really, really cool. I loved what the Ducks did with having his daughter and wife there to surprise him. Daughter had a shirt that said, "Daddy's an All-Star." She's telling family secrets out of school. Amazing.
I love that Cam Talbot is an all-star. Cam Talbot looked like he was kind of on his way out. Obviously had a tough stint in Ottawa, and since going to LA, he's been awesome. Kind of like a renaissance year for Cam Talbot. To get named to the All-Star game, very, very cool for that guy. And he's like 35 at this point. So
he's got to be.
So shout out Cam Talbot.
How many Rangers goalies do you think we can get to the All-Star game? Because Shesterkin's going, we should vote Quicken, Cam Talbot, right?
Yeah.
Hank will probably go for TNT broadcast reasons, maybe?
I think TNT has the game, or is it ESPN? I don't know.
Get Mike Richter in the mix.
Dan Blackburn.
Yeah.
The one and only. 2 blockers. Get him out there.
Yeah.
Let's see it. I also did want to mention Chaos Chain update. The Seattle Kraken defended the Chaos Chain. So they still own it. Who did they beat? They beat the Ottawa Senators.
Yep.
Everybody beats the Ottawa Senators, so not that impressive. They did win us some money. They won us $16.39. That's deposited into the pot. Next game Seattle plays is tomorrow night against Sean's Buffalo Sabres.
Ooh.
So we'll be putting money on that. We also decided that for a few additions to the Chaos Chain lore, we're going to be picking 2 more teams. I don't know if we're necessarily doing that today. I don't think that we have the wheel set up.
No.
So I did want to gift teams.
Yeah.
Like have each one of us give another person a team. So I'm going to give you the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh.
I feel like it's only right that somebody has the Oilers and that it's you.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could ruin my life and, like, give them to Sean or something.
I know,
like,
but... So
Sean could say, like, get your own team every time I mention
another wrinkle here that I want to add is that if one of our, I don't know if I said this on the last time, but like if one of our teams beats, like if one of my teams beats your team, I take your team.
Whoa, I like that.
So like we're going to be losing teams and gaining teams throughout the season. And like, so also to the point, like if like the Oilers hold the chain and they beat a team that is unclaimed, you claim that team. Like you acquire that team. So like we're going to have.
I like making this as complicated as possible.
It's not that complicated. It's just like if you have if you are representing a chain holder and they win games, you gain those teams.
Okay. Eat your heart out, Merrick.
Yeah, that's right.
You could never.
They're probably doing this too. Who knows?
Maybe.
Sean, you gifting a team?
I'll think about it. I don't have one off the top of my head. I kind of want to give you Montreal.
I already have Montreal.
That was your team?
So you have them twice,
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
I have the Canadians
Petrangelo
twice.
style, baby.
No, I'll have to think about it.
Okay.
I think that Quick, by the way, is the guy that we try to get to the All-Star game.
That'd be a funny one.
Because
that's like a bit.
That is like
But he also is like deserving.
lightly sincere.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's like 40% sincere.
Yeah, I mean, like a backup goaltender probably shouldn't be making the All-Star game, but like if there's any backup goaltender who deserves to make the All-Star game, it's John Quick.
For the record, I've been looking for it. It took me forever to find it. Game is on ESPN. It's all ESPN covered stuff.
Interesting.
Cool.
I did know that. Okay, well, tomorrow we got a big program for you. The great Jackie Redmond will be joining for the first of several appearances on this program. She's inked a lifetime deal.
You really?
Every day. Yep.
Wow. Am I being replaced?
Yep. Yes. Every day. We will discuss all things NHL with her. She's also doing a show that's like kind of like ours.
Yeah, pretty
So
much, yeah.
We can just be like, please don't do a better job than us, but she rocks, and we've been looking forward to having her on. So,
Chat saying the chaos chain rules are very complicated. I don't think they're that complicated.
is
Well, the
someone
chaos-
writing this? That's tough.
The Chaos Chain rules are straightforward. It's just the side game that we're playing that's getting a little complicated.
Yeah,
It's a
and I like the. I am like sincerely on board for making it complicated.
I mean, the show's name is literally What Chaos.
Yeah.
I don't know what you expected.
Right.
I want for like a new listener to come on board and like, what's this chaos chain they speak of? And I want it to be very difficult to explain it.
Just an incredibly high barrier of entry. Like if you're not here now, you've missed it. You don't get in.
we should
Right.
get.
It's a perk for listeners who've gotten in on the ground floor that you get to see us work this out. And you're the only ones that get to understand it as we go through it.
I am very into this now. So, Pete, you got a little whiteboard that you put over there that has our teams on it, just so we don't forget.
Yeah, like it's not complicated when I have to buy things to make sure that we're tracking.
So what I really want to do now is I want to get a huge whiteboard where at the top you write out like the general premise of it. And then each time you add a like, oh, and then we can give each other like you add that. And it ends up being
Like Pepe Sylvia.
Yes, it ends up being a fucking mess. And we understand it because it's all right there in front of us. I am so in on this. And then we can make like t-shirts that just say what the board looks like.
Yes.
I am so in on
the
this.
entire T-shirt is just like Post-it notes and lines and marker and everything.
Make the chaos chain as confusing as possible. We could make the Patreon idea that we do could be like the Chaos Chain Club.
Yes.
And it's everybody who knows what's going on.
It's a real if you know, you know.
We're getting so people are on board with this.
Okay.
They're
yes.
like, I didn't totally get this until we made it confusing, and now I'm so in. Let's do it.
I wish that we lived in a world where like they did exhibitions against like Danish hockey league teams. So
I mean, the Oilers do skills competitions with themselves.
I just want to live in a world where the chain somehow leaves the NHL.
That would be incredible.
Like it's assigned to a player on each team.
We're
It's
just
like
waiting
Shane Wright. You got demoted to the AHL. It is now a whatever their AHL team is.
That would be awesome if like somehow the
no.
chain ends up like transferring to the PWHL.
It's just in
during
the World Juniors. All of a sudden, you only get it every couple of years.
Yes.
Dude, get the chain to Sodertie. How could we send the chain? It'd be like the traveling chain.
The new owner of the Chaos Chain, the Melbourne Mustangs of the Australian Ice Hockey League.
I'm so in.
Julie in the
this.
chat said Pete should get the Canes. Should be gifted the Canes. I would be furious. Don't do that.
I
you have
hereby
to
gift the Carolina Hurricanes to Pete Blackburn.
Oh my God.
Damn,
Thanks.
you got to paint the town red now.
I can't wait for them to lose while they're holding it, so I lose them.
Can I take that back?
What?
Can I take the Canes back? Because I have a different team I want to give
Yeah.
Pete. The New York Rangers.
New York,
I didn't think about that.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. But like, I don't hate the Rangers. I just hate their owner.
Well, yeah, but if you win the chain, you're gonna have to. I feel like you should be required.
You know who their
to-
owner likes.
I mean, I feel like he likes several people, but
Yeah.
He has a soft
He
spot
likes
in
the
his heart
Rangers.
for.
All right. Back tomorrow with Jackie Redmond. Bye, everybody.
We all silly like the mayor.